So the Packers decided to give us a Thanksgiving to remember with Jordan Love leading the Packers to a victory against the Detroit Lions, 29-22. And I think Jordan Love probably had his best game of the season. We said that last week, and I think I'm going to say it again. He looked even more accurate today, more poised today, without Aaron Jones, without Luke Musgrave, without Dontavian Wicks. And the Packers are now sitting at 5-6, beating the Lions 29-22. And it's crazy that we're sitting here because if 2 weeks ago, before the Chiefs game, sitting at 3-6, losing to the Steelers, you would have told me we'd be in the playoff hunt and the announcers would be saying they're in the playoff hunt, I would have thought, how does this happen? But now we've beat Justin Herbert and the Chargers offense, which is one of the best in the NFL, top 10 offense. And now we beat the Lions and the Detroit offense, which is also a top 10 offense. So first off, we got to give props to Joe Barry and this Packers defense. We allow a lot of yards. That happens, but we stopped them 5 times on fourth down. The Lions went 0 for 5 on fourth down. Rashawn Gary had a massive day. 3 sacks. I think, was it 2 forced fumbles from Gary? 1 from Carl Brooks. So the Lions turned the ball over 3 times. The Packers turned it over 0 times. We win the turnover battle. Oftentimes in the NFL, if you win the turnover battle, obviously your odds of success of winning go up a ton. And so the Packers defense the past couple of weeks has played really, really well. And honestly, with both of these teams, both of these offenses, I was waiting to see, can the Packers defense actually do something against somewhat good offenses? Because there was a stretch where the Packers defense wasn't doing a ton. I mean, we were playing well, but it was against lower tier offenses with quarterbacks who don't really scare you. But honestly, Justin Herbert's a top 10 quarterback. Jared Goff is up there. He has been this year. He's probably struggled a little bit the past couple weeks. But the Packers defense has done enough for the Packers to come in and, put up points on offense, allows the Packers to get the victory. And so when we look at this game from the offensive side, for the losing streak, majority of the season, the Packers were struggling to get going quickly. The offense just looked dead. There was lots of, just trouble moving the ball. And that has not been the case for the Packers offense these past couple weeks. Getting off to fast starts. The Packers scored 20 points in the first quarter. 20 points in the first quarter. The Packers were up 20-6. 2 touchdown passes by Jordan Love in the first quarter. 1 touchdown on the strip sack basically strip sack by Rashawn Gary. I think Jonathan Owens returned it for a touchdown. So the Packers got off to a very, very hot start. And I think one of the best things from this game, along with Jordan Love playing really, really well, which is honestly probably the best, but close second best, if not up there, is Christian Watson coming through. He has not really stood out this season so far. And in this game, he has 5 receptions for 94 yards and a touchdown. A huge play to start the game for 53 yards. Love connects with him. And it's just great to see Watson taking some steps forward because this is a guy that he can be. And so if he starts playing like this and him and Love start to build this chemistry, along with Jaden Reed playing well, Romeo Doubs, Malik Heath, who had a good game, and then, of course, Musgrave and Wicks, who are injured right now, this Packers offense is starting to look really, really good. And, we all hoped that this would happen at the end of the season, that we could start to see some improvement. But I, for one, was not expecting us to be in the playoff hunt at this time. Starting off being 3-6, the fact that now we're still 1 game out from the playoffs, and I think our schedule going forward, besides the Chiefs, isn't that hard. I think we play the Bucks, the Panthers, a few other teams who aren't incredible. And so this Packers team actually has a chance, if we can play this well the rest of the season, to potentially make the playoffs, which sounds absolutely crazy. And one of the biggest things going into this game was the fact that we were without so many players. No Aaron Jones, no Luke Musgrave, no Dontavian Wicks, no Jair Alexander, no Devondre Campbell. And this Packers team still played this way. I think we're just young, full of energy, and the Packers are not going to go down easy, and that's what you want to see from a team. And so now looking forward to the future with Jordan Love, because the question all season is, can Love prove he's the guy this season for the Packers? And there was a stretch there for the middle of the season where things seemed pretty unsure. He wasn't playing well. He was struggling a ton with accuracy. In these past few weeks, we have seen that drastically improve. All I wanted to see from Love was consistency, because it's awesome if you've won great game. But now we've seen 3 straight solid games from Jordan Love. The one against the Steelers, he did throw 2 picks, but the second one was near the end of the game. But I still think in that game, we saw his deep passing ability improve. Last week, we saw him play really, really well. And this game was even prettier. I mean, there were barely any plays where he was off target, and that was something we saw early in the season, middle of the season, where he had so many off-target throws. But today, he was pinpoint accurate. There were so many times where he throws these perfect passes, these Aaron Rodgers type accurate passes, where the touchdown to Jayden Reed, I think it was to Jayden Reed, right? Around the start of the game. Yes, it was to Jayden Reed. A few other passes where the announcers are breaking it down, showing the slow-mo where he just puts it exactly where it needs to be. And so that's all I wanted to see, is that accuracy improve. And we've seen it improve consistently. And so it's looking right now like Jordan Love is the guy in Green Bay for the long haul. That's what it's looking like right now. And if we can keep seeing the way Jordan Love plays the rest of the season, I mean, this Packers offense is going to be scary good for the next couple seasons. I think that these guys are finally starting to get a hold of it. These young receivers are playing really well. Jayden Reed is looking incredible. He had 4 receptions, 34 yards. Tucker Kraft had a touchdown with Luke Musgrave out. The rushing attack was okay. 22 carries, 109 yards, 5 yards a carry. Lots of that was Jordan Love, 39 yards, one of which was a 37-yard run by Jordan Love near the end of the game. So A.J. Dillon, he looks more explosive to me than he has in times past. This game, 14 carries, 43 yards, 3.1 yards a carry. There weren't a ton of holes in the running game, but he did play well in the passing game. 3 receptions, 38 yards. He had that nice hurdle. And so this Packers offensive line, while they can't run block very well, they are one of the best in the NFL when it comes to pass blocking. And so the fact that now the Packers passing offense is starting to click, Love is making much better decisions. These receivers are playing really well. There seem to be a lot less mental mistakes where you're sitting there like, what just happened? Things are starting to get cleaned up here in Green Bay just in time when the Packers still actually have a chance at the playoffs. And so this game next week in Green Bay versus Kansas City is going to be huge. Clearly, this past week, it didn't seem like the Packers had a chance against the Lions. I did pick the Packers to win this game. I just had a feeling that, Love was starting to play well. This offense was starting to play well. The Lions have played 2 close games versus the Chargers. They allowed 38 points to the Chargers, which made me think, why can't the Packers put up 30, which they almost did. And then last week, they barely beat the Bears. So I really didn't think the Lions were 100% going to win this game, which is why I picked the Packers. They came out, played really well, even in light of all these injuries. And so this team is moving in the right direction. Let's see, anything else? Jonathan Owens. We have to give props to Jonathan Owens today, who I think has had some bad plays this season. A bad miss on a tackle last week. He led the team in tackles, 12 total tackles, and he had 1 tackle for loss. Of course, that touchdown, but he was flying around, playing physical, playing tough. The Packers safeties, obviously, we were without Darnell Savage, Rudy Ford, both of the guys who have been starters. Now it's Jonathan Owens and rookie Anthony Johnson Jr. So great play by them. Isaiah McDuffie, 11 total tackles. He's playing well, filling in for Devondre Campbell. Rashawn Gary, he was the MVP for the defense today. Maybe even in the game, honestly. 5 solo tackles, 7 total, 3 sacks. And to be able to have Rashawn Gary back at full health, playing, a full snap count, where he's not having to be limited by that ACL, has been a huge difference maker for this Packers defense. So it's awesome to see him playing well. Lucas Van Ness making some nice plays. And when we look at this Packers defense, we know that they like to play, too high safety a lot. They like to keep things in front of them. And in this game, the Lions outgained the Packers 464 yards to 377. If we look at the amount of drives, let me see how many drives the Lions had. We each had 11 drives, but the Lions all day, they were moving the ball down the field, but when it counted, the Packers came up with tons of big stops. As I already said, 5 fourth-down stops. They did go 3 of 4 in the red zone, but the Packers defense did enough. Forced turnovers, which clearly helped. We're getting pressure on Jared Goff all day. And so this is a Packers defense that is so torn up by injury with Darnell Savage down, Rudy Ford, Jair Alexander, Devondre Campbell. So many starters, and yet they played this tough. They played physical and did enough to win this game. So I'm loving how this Packers team is looking. At the end of the season, I was hoping that we could just see some signs of growth from Jordan Love, and now we're seeing way more. The defense is playing well, the offense is playing well, and we're actually in the playoff hunt. So it's going to be exciting next few weeks, exciting rest of the season, more exciting than I'd even thought when we were 3-6. So great Thanksgiving today. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Hope everyone has a great rest of their day, but it's great to end this Thanksgiving with a Packers win. We're on a winning streak, 2 wins in a row. Let's hope we can keep it up next week versus Kansas City. But that's all I have for this one. If you want more Packers content, feel free to subscribe down below.